The following program is brought to you by Arlington Community Media, where we tell your story. Arlington Select Board votes to put it to the voters this November to decide on a proposed $7 million override in fiscal 24. We will weigh the pros and the cons. This graduating class endured the highs and lows of growing up, learning about themselves, and finding their own identity. All this in the midst of the pandemic. The AHS class of 23 is now on its way and will take it to Pierce Field for the graduation ceremony. And you could take a tour of Arlington, obviously, without traveling far or even breaking the bank, courtesy of the Cyrus Dallin Art Museum. When, where, and most of all, how much? Stay tuned. ACMi News is next.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the nationwide award-winning ACMi News.
A vote for a possible override will be taking place in the fall. According to town leaders, a positive vote for a $7 million override could avoid asking voters for another one in the future. Hello, I'm Ben Lau.
And I'm Paul Werlin. Glad you could join us today. At its June 5th Monday night meeting, the Select Board unanimously proposed a $7 million override in fiscal 2024, allowing Arlington residents to decide at a special town election on November 7th.
The override seeks to pay for several town operations and school operations. The vote was 4-0, with Select Board member Steve DeCourcy absent.
The proposed override has been the talk of the town lately. Some say with an estimate 5% hike in taxes, it's time to stop the spending. Others say the town and the school committee need extra revenue.
A proposal for a $7 million override to be voted on this fall, and I would suggest that the right date for that would be Tuesday, November 7th, would allow us to go forward 3 years without having to go back to the voters for another override. That may change. It may extend out further if we get additional state aid or additional new growth. But I think given some realistic assumptions about where I see both those areas going over the next few years, I think that we can say for sure that we won't need one for another 3 years.
I share the concern that Mr. Foskett and others, whose opinion I deeply respect, I share the concern of the long-term picture that there's that overrides that add new spending are not necessarily sustainable in the future. We are looking at potentially large deficits down the road. I am comfortable, though, that the board's political responsibility and political leadership is to say to voters, we think this investment is worth making. Do you want to pay for it?
Nobody likes overrides. Nobody wants to spend more money. I mean, we talk about new growth all the time, and it's just never going to be a silver bullet that comes in and solves all of our problems just because the limited areas that we can do it, even with zoning changes and increased density in the zoning. That's good, but it's not going to solve our problems. There will eventually become a time when we can't sustain an override every 4 years because it will just be unaffordable for anyone to live here.
Stated in your Arlington, the fiscal year 24 override also aims to fund improving roads and sidewalks and maintain the town's strong bond rating. For more information on the proposed override and the special election, just go to the town website, arlingtonma.gov/budget. Again, that's arlingtonma.gov/budget.
One man keeping a very close eye on the override is Arlington's new Deputy Town Manager and Finance Director, Alex Magee. Magee assumed office in early March and will be responsible for managing capital budgets, healthcare insurance policies, collective bargaining, and the financial plan. Magee served the city of Lowell for 8 years as an assistant to the city manager and Deputy Director of Administration and Finance for the Public Works Department. And even though he's been at his new position in Arlington for 2 months, he's hit the ground running.
Our FY24 budget is built without the override baked into it. Should that happen, there are a number of things that would sort of change. It would be sort of in addition to our 24 budget that was appropriated at town meeting. So, and those will sort of come out during the override, sort of like there will be a bit of a process, and so that will sort of come out during that, sort of what the override will fund, what sort of programming, where it'll be allocated, and sort of during which years.
All right, and with what you're doing now, how do you envision Arlington in like 3 years financially?
Sure. I envision Arlington, having fantastic municipal programming. We're a model in the sort of in the municipal space in Massachusetts. I would picture us still, using our sort of local funding to the max. Hopefully, when we're committing to not needing any future overrides during the next 3 years during that period of time. And so making sure that we're leaning into that funding and sort of delivering the best programming that the residents expect here.
Prior to overseeing the day-to-day operations in Arlington, Magee was most recently finance director for the town of Hamilton, also working as the town treasurer.
There has been much talk, and now it's time for the public to have its say. The MBTA Communities Working Group revealed publicly the first draft of the potential MBTA Communities Complaint District and map on Thursday, June 8th, at the Community Center. You may recall the state mandated that Arlington and more than 170 other communities in eastern Massachusetts with access to MBTA service create districts where multifamily housing is allowed by right. Earlier this week, ACMi News spoke to Claire Ricker, the director of Arlington's Planning and Community Development Department, about what residents can expect.
The work on MBTA communities continues, and it's a challenging project, but it's pretty exciting to start, to get some results and be able to see what that sort of looks like in Arlington and in the built environment. So we, after our first big public meeting in March, we did offer a survey to the community. We received about over 1,000 responses to that survey, which is really, really great, especially for, a housing and zoning item, which is, so much about potential and not necessarily about, what is going to go in immediately. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. But from those series of questions, should we focus, maybe on some commercial centers? Should we focus on areas that are transit rich? Should we, focus on areas that are close to open spaces? Those sorts of questions that were in the survey, we've been able to work with our consultant, UTEAL, to put them down on a map and show a couple of drafts of what this may look like, as a zoning, as a zone, in Arlington, and what it would look like in the zoning bylaws. So the working group has been working with those initial diagrams and a little bit of the survey data that we have that we're also looking to share with the community. This is a first draft. It's rough. It does meet the terms, like I said, the rules, the sort of the technical items that the state has laid out, and thank goodness we have a good consultant who's great at representing that. But this is just a draft. This is a first pass at where and how and where this really where should this zone go in, and then once we've sort of zeroed in more on that. And we can have something that's reflected on a map, then we can start to talk about what size buildings at what density, how many units, those sorts of things. But the first question we need to answer is where and why. And that's really what we're sort of narrowing in on now. And I think, I do think this is probably the most exciting conversation for the communities to join into, because we are talking about all of Arlington.
The MBTA Communities process is currently in the visioning phase. Ms. Ricker says the town wants to understand your vision for multifamily housing in Arlington. For more information, just go to the town website, arlingtonma.gov/projects. Again, that's arlingtonma.gov/projects.
The Arlington High School Class of 2023 graduation ceremony was held Saturday, June 3rd at Pierce Field. The cool weather and overcast skies did nothing to dampen the spirits of these graduating seniors as they embark on their lifelong journey. This year's faculty speaker was Graham Dimmick, a chemistry teacher at the high school. He had some sage advice for those grads who poised to pursue their dreams.
Right now, you are sitting among a community of people of widely varied experiences. Many of you shared some experiences with lots of these people. Some of you shared lots of experiences with just a few of these people. A few of you had experiences that are entirely your own. All of you in this community shared a common experience, precipitated by a certain global pandemic. As you reflect on your time in this community, consider the choices you made to engage or disengage from these people. Looking ahead, what choices can you make that help you understand yourself and your community in a way that is deeper and more fulfilling?
You can see the graduation ceremony in its entirety. Just go to the ACMi YouTube page, youtube.com/ACMiTV/live. Again, that's youtube.com/ACMiTV/live. And congratulations to all the graduating AHS seniors, class of 2023.
On Monday, June 19th, the town of Arlington will be celebrating its 2023 Juneteenth Observance, and it's all happening at the Robbins Memorial Town Hall Gardens. You'll recall Juneteenth was recognized as a federal holiday 2 years ago when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. The history of this day dates to on June 19th, 1865, nearly 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas in 1865 with news that the institution of slavery had ended in the U.S. More than 250,000 former slaves embraced freedom by executive decree in what became known as Juneteenth or Freedom Day. The celebration in Arlington will take place between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Robbins Memorial Town Hall Garden, featuring performances by Jack Schwartz Bart and the Arlington High School Performing Arts students, and a lot more. For information on this year's Juneteenth observance, just go to the town website, arlingtonma.gov/DEI. Again, that's arlingtonma.gov/DEI.
Arlington Eats will be getting a hefty $90,000 over the next 3 years to support its growing work with the Arlington Farmers Market, which opens Wednesday, June 14th. Arlington Eats at 117 Broadway is one of 150 local nonprofits nationwide, sharing $30 million through the Cummings Foundation Major Annual Grants Program. Its mission is to engage the community in eliminating food insecurity and hunger in Arlington. It does this through efforts like providing an Eats Market, a food pantry, and even home delivery service designed to foster dignity. According to Your Arlington, the organization was selected from a total of 630 applicants in a competitive review process. Eats will be helping to manage the farmers market, allowing the community to support local farms and enjoy local foods. The grant will also help fund staffing, provide new educational materials, and fresh bucks vouchers for shoppers who receive SNAP benefits. For more information, just go to the Arlington Eats website, arlingtoneats.org. Again, that's arlingtoneats.org.
Arlington has a new senior transportation manager. John Alessi is now responsible for coordinating transportation policy and planning in town efforts. One of Alessi's biggest projects in Arlington is updating the Complete Streets Prioritization Plan, a 15th Street improvement project that aims to make walking, biking, and driving easier and more accessible in Arlington. Alessi received his undergrad degree from the University of Vermont in 2017 with a double major in political science and environmental studies. He went on to receive a Master of Science in 2021 from Northeastern University, focusing on science and public policy.
The Cyrus Dallin Art Museum is paying homage to Arlington's storied past with a series of tours our summer long. How many of us pass some of this town's historic landmarks without knowing the full story? This is a tour you don't want to miss, and you clearly don't have to travel far or break the bank. Here's museum board member Jerry Tremblay to tell us more.
So one of our directors, Andrew J., put together an Arlington Center walking tour. It includes sculptures and monuments within the area of the center. We've been doing this for 2 or 3 years. It's been quite successful. We usually have a nice number of people attend. We start here in front of the Jefferson Cutter House and the Dallin Museum, and we talk about the house and about Cyrus Dallin. We walk down to the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial, and then we come back up the avenue. We go to the Uncle Sam's Plaza. We go across the street to Robbins Memorial Library. We stop at the Whittemore Robbins House. We go to the Monotony Hunter in the town garden, the Flagstaff on the far side of the town hall, and we finished at Citizens Bank because they have a very nice Art Deco frieze on the Mass Ave side and on the Court Street side. So it takes about an hour and a half. We always have a very pleasant group asking questions, very casual. It's cost us $10, and you can register at the Dallin website.
The next tour will be held on Thursday, June 29th. The time to get your tickets is now, and the website again is dallin.org. Again, that's dallin.org.
And the Dallin Museum is celebrating its newest acquisition at 611 Mass Ave. It's Arlington sculptor Cyrus Dallin's magnificent likeness of the great chief Washakie of the Shoshone people. The unveiling of this masterpiece took place earlier in the spring with the help of Dallin's only living granddaughter. Heather Lavelle, the curator at the Dallin Art Museum, tells us why this acquisition is so important to Cyrus Dallin's enduring legacy.
My name is Heather Lavelle. I'm the director and curator of the Cyrus Dallin Art Museum, and I am thrilled to share with you today a new acquisition, Cyrus Dallin's Chief Washakie statue. It's a meticulously detailed circa 1944 bronze cast of the famed Eastern Shoshone leader, Chief Washakie, and it was purchased by the museum as a partial gift that was offered from a local collector. And the base of the statue is stamped Quorum Founders, and that's the Rhode Island-based foundry that Cyrus Dallin worked with almost exclusively to produce authorized casts of his statues for sale to collectors and educational institutions. Chief Washakie, as I said, was the famed Eastern Shoshone leader. He lived between around the year 1804 and he died in 1909, so he had a very long life, lived to be about 96 years old. His traditional territory was comprised of areas of present-day Utah, Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. He is remembered as a multilingual diplomat and a warrior. He successfully negotiated with the federal government in the Fort Brigadier Treaties of 1863 and 1868 to secure 3 million acres of land in the Wind River Valley of Wyoming for his people. And the Eastern Shoshone and the Northern Arapaho remain on those lands today. And so it was really his policy of negotiation and alignment with encroaching colonizers that assured the well-being and resilience of his people moving forward. Cyrus Dallin was a great admirer of Chief Washakie. He shows Washakie with an upraised arm and his 2 fingers in a signal of peace, reflecting the chief's reputation as a negotiator with the settlers. He also shows Washakie as a warrior. At one point in battle, Washakie had an arrow pierce his right cheek came out his left cheek, and you can see the two scars on the right and the left that reflect that incident. In 1922, in a speech in Salt Lake City, Cyrus said, "I would like to set up upon these hills the Washki that I enshrined in my boyhood memories." Sadly, that never happened. There was a committee was formed in 1916 to acquire the Washki statue for the Utah State Capitol building, but that project never materialized, and today we only have these smaller bronze casts of the statue.
Good day, my name is John Washiki, and I'm the great-grandson of Chief Washki.
And we at the Dallin Museum are honored to have received a recording from John Washiki, who is the great-grandson of Chief Washiki, that was made for the museum to celebrate the unveiling of our statue. And he talks about in the recording Washiki's legacy and his importance to the Eastern Shoshone people.
I'm very proud to be a great-grandson of Chief Washki. Thank you.
We have that video available for viewing on our website at dallin.org. We'd like to thank Mr. Washki and Alejandra Robinson, who is the Public Relations Director and the Archives Manager for the Eastern Shoshone Tribe, for making this recording possible, for helping us educate our visitors on the legacy of this extraordinary person and on the resilience of the Eastern Shoshone people. So we hope you'll come to the Dallin Museum and see Chief Washiki in person. Thank you so much.
The detail on this newly acquired masterpiece is truly stunning, and we are lucky to have the museum right in our own backyard. For all information about the Cyrus Dallin Museum, just go to their website, dallin.org. Again, that's dallin.org.
At ACMi, we are always proud of our interns. As part of their educational experience, our interns spend a semester with us and learn how to do behind-the-camera operations. They learn to produce, report, and even anchor. In this newscast, you'll meet Mimi Van Dyke, an Emerson student, class of 25. Mimi's interested in the field of visual and media arts, and we are glad to have her for the summer.
All right, rolling whenever you're ready.
Okay. And the audio is fine?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Hi, I am Mimi. I am a junior at Emerson College, and I'm from the UK. I really wanted to be an intern at ACMi because I just thought it would be a great experience just in the studio and getting to know way more about cameras, lighting, etc. Basically everything that I don't know anything about.
Throughout the summer, we'll be featuring all the interns currently here at ACMi. If you're interested in interning here with us, give us a call, 781-777-1115. Again, the number at ACMi is 781-777-1115. And as for James Milan, he'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
That'll do it for us this week here at ACMi News. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Ben Lau. We leave you with a taste of springtime. It's in the air and some windows in the heights.
We thank Cheryl Bruskillis for this video, and we will see you back here next week. So long.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.